Warning. This tier contains topics of self-harm, suicide, racism, and terrorist attacks. If any of this offends you, click off the video now. Heaven's Gate. Heaven's Gate is another UFO cult, and a far darker one, to say the least. It was founded by Marshall Applewhite, who believed that, UFOs were gonna come and it'd be like Judgment Day, so he led a mass unaliving in 1997 so that they could join a spaceship behind the Hale-Bopp comet, and, that would take them to, I guess, the next life, or maybe they just go through space, I guess. This cult, again, people died because of it, so I don't want to associate this with Christianity at all, even if maybe it's, got its own Judgment Day. A lot of religions have a Judgment Day, alright? We're not alone in that, so, to heck with Heaven's Gate. It honestly hurts to say the word heaven and associate it with a cult like this. Nation of Islam. This is an African-American movement that blends Islam with black nationalism. Think Malcolm X and, his conversion to Islam, right? These were guys who were, they were black and they aligned with, Islam for, political reasons, such as hating the West and whatnot. And, I will admit it's kind of ironic, given that Muslims have actually historically been worse to black people than Christians have. I mean, the Bible, at least prohibits slavery, but Muhammad actually owned black African slaves, and it's kinda hypocritical when you think about it, but I don't know, I guess people have the reasons for joining any, religion, and, maybe, they acknowledge that, and, the Nation of Islam guys, they, want to look past that and join it for different reasons, so, I guess I'm not gonna come down too hard on them, but, again, I feel like there's some hypocrisy behind it all. Nubian Nation. This, is kinda like Nation of Islam, but, replace Islam with, the UFO cults, and that's basically what it is. It was founded by Dwight York, and, again, not only is it black supremacists, but it's based on a lot of, conspiracy theories surrounding UFOs and whatnot. It's kind of like Heaven's Gate times Nation of Islam, so, I mean, they didn't, do a mass unaliving event, but, they could get pretty crazy. They're based on a compound in Georgia, and, I think they're still up and running, though barely anyone's a member because it's a ridiculous belief, but that's what it is. Order of the Nine Angels. This is a white supremacist group, a neo-Nazi group to be exact, and there are also satanic occultists as well, so yeah, they're about as bad as you could possibly think them to be. They have nothing in common with Christianity, because this is all horrible, and I hope it's one day dissolved, because this is a horrible thing to believe in. Unification Church. Led by what are known as Moonies, this was founded by Sun Myung Moon, who was born in what is now North Korea, but he's established a church in Seoul, South Korea. It's an offshoot of Christianity, so it is a lot like Christianity, but what's different is that Moon claimed that Jesus had appeared to him in a vision on an Easter morning in 1935 near Mount Myodo, I think it's pronounced, and he tasked him with completing the divine mission of establishing God's kingdom on earth through what he calls spiritual and physical restoration. And how is this done? Well, it's done through the core theology that he calls the divine principle. It's a text he authored that interprets biblical history as a process for providential failure and indemnity, as he calls it. He calls himself the Messiah figure, who alongside his wife, Hak Jahan, would model the true family to reverse humanity's fall. So basically, it's this cult of personality surrounding the South Korean leader who's the deputy of Jesus Christ, which is obviously not at all true and is just, blasphemous almost, right? That he would call himself the next Christ. It's a dumb cult, it's based off Christianity, but, it's not only heretical, but blasphemous, so forget about it. Shinrikyo. I think I pronounced that right. This was a Japanese cult, and it was actually a doomsday cult founded by Shoko Asahara. It blends elements of Buddhism, Hinduism, and general apocalyptic prophecies, and all centered around Asahara being this enlightened messiah, big surprise, who was, like, gonna foretell global Armageddon and prevent it all. And what this is infamous for is that this cult, they committed the sarin gas attack, where they got, in 1995, onto a subway in Tokyo and started attacking people with gas. And it was really awful and horrible, so, you know, yeah, these people killed 13 people and injured about 5,500 people, I think. So, yeah, I just hope this cult, if it's still out there somewhere, it just dies away completely. This is another bad one, alright? People are getting killed because of it. And I don't mean like, oh, people get killed because of, like, Christians and whatnot. Like, no. This is baked into their theology, alright? People who kill Christians in Jesus' name, that's like the unforgivable sin in our religion, alright? Like, with this cult, it's probably the opposite, that gas attack. So, that's the difference, so don't go trying to say that this is hypocritical, it's not. Heavenly Jerusalem, also known as the true Russian Orthodox Church, which isn't actually true, okay? But it's this Russian doomsday cult founded by Pyotr Kuznetsov. I think I pronounced that better. I'm better with pronouncing Russian names, because I'm like part Russian actually, but yeah. The Heavenly Jerusalem cult, also known as the Penza Recluses, is another one. They broke away from the Russian Orthodox Church, considering it insufficiently Orthodox. Yeah, because, you know, what's less Orthodox than the Russian Orthodox Church? You know, but this had some pretty weird beliefs too. Kind of like the Amish, they rejected a lot of modern inventions, like you couldn't eat processed food, watch television, or even handle money. Like, they rejected things like barcodes, social security, and national identification numbers, so I guess they're trying to live off the grid, you know, which, you know, if they were living in Russia, I can understand, you know, not wanting to be identified by their government. But still, that's just the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. I mean, they also featured satanic imagery and other symbols such as the Eye of Providence and 666, the number of the beast. But what makes them infamous is that in 2007, about 29 to 35 members is what they said. They held themselves up in a cave in the Penza region, and they threatened mass unaliving by blowing themselves up, so kind of like suicide bombers, if anyone tried to intervene. And they tried to hide themselves away because they thought the end of the world was going to come in May 2008, and they were just hiding out in there. But nevertheless, people all tried to camp outside the cave and, like, see if they could get these guys out, and, eventually, you know, they were able to get them out, and, like, it's a big, messy story. It's like almost like a hostage situation. You could get into more of it by looking it up, but I think that's the gist of them, so moving on. Order of the Solar Temple. This is another New Age cult that was founded in Switzerland, and, they believed in 7 principles, which were re-establishing the correct notions of authority and power in the world, affirming the primacy of the spiritual over the temporal, giving back to man the conscience of his dignity, helping humanity through its transition, participating in the assumption of the earth in its 3 frameworks, which are body, soul, and spirit, contributing to the union of the churches and working towards the meaning of Christianity and Islam, they want to blend the two, and preparing for the return of Christ and solar glory. So it's kind of like a Christian cult, but it's also, you know, it has masters like Sirius, the bright star in the night sky. They thought it was a focal point, known as the blue star, and they thought the universe's history could be divided into several ages based on the birth and life cycle of Sirius. And they want to transit to Sirius. They want to go there, you know, and get away from the world. So, what'd they do? Well, I think you know what they did at this point, right? Another mass unaliving event. And, yeah. They first divided themselves into 3 groups. They murdered the traitors. They had the immortals who had been helped in death. They were killed by other members. And the awakened, who committed voluntary unaliving of themselves. So, yeah. Another bad cult. Kabzeism. This is another, pagan revival movement based on the North Caucasus, and it's tied to ancient traditions, and, it's not a bad, crazy cult. It's kind of like back in the UK, they had Wicca. Well, this is, the Wicca of, the North Caucasus, so, it's based on their traditions, which are kind of cool, so I suggest you check them out. Muslim. This is a shamanist belief in Korea based on folk religions around there. So again, it's like the Kabzeism of Korea, They're kind of alike in those ways. Falun Gong. This is another traditional Chinese belief. It's based on a lot of traditional Chinese beliefs, but it's mixed with Qigong. And that's a system of coordinated body posture and movement. It's not it's not like yoga, but it's a similar body posture and movement coordination, I guess is what I could call it. It mixes that with traditional Chinese beliefs, centered around this new religion. It's been heavily persecuted in communist China because, all traditional Chinese values have. And as a result, they've been very active in attacking them and even have funded newspapers like the Epoch Times, a right-wing newspaper that, as you may have guessed, spends a lot of time attacking the CCP. So yeah, there's a lot of conservatives out there who are unknowingly, practicing the beliefs of Falun Gong. Not that it's really even a bad thing, because, they're a pretty good belief, I think, other traditional Chinese beliefs, they have a lot in common with Christianity, So, I mean, the only problem I really have with them is that they use a swastika for their symbol, but, swastikas don't mean the same thing in Asia, so, if anyone's bothered by this, don't be. It doesn't mean what you think it means. Church of Euthanasia. This is another, parody religion, like Pastafarianism, that satirically promotes voluntary human extinction and anti-natalist views. It's a joke, though, so, don't take it seriously, I guess. I mean, the fact they would call themselves the Church of Euthanasia, what is scary, though, is that there are people out there who actually hold these, anti-natalist beliefs. Again, the church itself is a joke, but it honestly scares me to think that there are people out there who genuinely want humanity to die out. I'm a human. I don't want to die. I think most humans don't want to die, so, yeah, be wary of people who actually believe in that crap. But, the Church of Euthanasia, they're just a joke. Just don't pay them any mind. Church of the Subgenius. Another parody religion. It mocks cults and consumerism, They have a bunch of, satirical views on conspiracies and whatnot. Again, another joke. One that, yeah, consumerism is bad and, it's, great that they mock it, but, that's all they are. Another joke religion, so pay them no mind. Warning. This tier contains more of the same, except in many cases it may be worse. So again, click off the video now. Happy Science. Happy Science is a new religious movement founded by Ryuho Okawa. He's a former Wall Street trader who now is being regarded by his followers as the reincarnation of a supreme being from Venus. Yeah. So, I guess it's kind of like a UFO called no actual UFOs, but it's based around space. So yeah, it's basically about peace, love, and understanding, cause what's so funny about that? And they also have a political party to advance their ideas called the Happiness Realization Party. Yeah, it's, has no, representatives in Congress, cause why would it, I guess? But yeah, it's an official Japanese political party, and it's all based on the Happy Science religious movement. So, yeah. It was actually chaired by Ryuho himself until he died in March 2023, but, it's still going strong, and if you're just tired of the traditional parties in Japan, maybe give the Happiness Realization Party a try. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't think I can really endorse this. Yeah. Chen Tao. That's Chinese for true way. This, despite having Tao in the name, has very little connections to Taoism. Rather, it's a Taiwanese UFO apocalyptic group. Merged with Christianity, so again, I guess it has relations to Christianity, but it's also, it's another UFO cult, and it predicted in 1998 that God would evacuate the Earth, which is funny, because it's usually 1999 that people were like, Judgment Day's gonna come, right? I mean, Prince made a whole song about it. Well, it was about nuclear war, but, maybe he did also believe that 1999 would end the world. These guys were 1 year ahead, getting ahead of the curve, supposedly. Cartanoism. This is a early 20th century Christian sect that came out of Finland, and this was known for having a lot of child preachers who were all constantly telling people that the world's gonna end soon, and before this, the world will receive its punishment. And the Winter War, in which the Soviets invaded Finland, they said that this was proof of it. But, of course, the world did not end soon, and probably won't anytime soon. But other than that, it's a relatively, normal Christian sect, I guess. But, yeah, that is some pretty weird stuff, ain't it? Aetherius Society. It's another UFO group, and it's by George King. Apparently, it's about these cosmic masters who charge people's spiritual batteries. I guess it fills them up with spiritual energy, I guess. Who are these cosmic masters? I don't know, but they live in UFOs, so they are charging up people's batteries, and yeah, it's just another UFO group. Nothing much else. No mass unaliving events, at least, so that's kinda good. So yeah, moving on. Universe people, also known as cosmic people. This was a Czech UFO religion, because we seem to be getting a lot of those on this iceberg. It's also another doomsday cult, and it was founded in the 1990s that is based on the belief that there are, aliens, right? And they're communicating with their leader, Ivo A. Benda, and they do it telepathically, because how else are they going to do it, right? I mean, how else could they do this other than tapping our brains? They are considered one of the more distinctive religions, because, people thought they were going to be like Heaven's Gate and do a mass unaliving event, but surprisingly, they also did not do that, so I guess that's alright. Though people say they have the potential to do so, better keep your eyes out for these guys. Mumboism, also known as the Mumbo Cult. What is this cult? It's another new religious movement, but it's based off of a lot of pagan beliefs out of Kenya. So it's like a native Kenyan religion, in a way. It's especially focused on anti-imperial teachings, against the British, because this was during the later part of their colonial rule over Kenya, and apparently the colonial government even tried to ban it because of that. So they're kind of more of a resistance as well. And they got what they wanted, because soon after, the British left Kenya, so, good on them. Good on them. Sky Kingdom. No, this is not the level of a video game. This is a religious commune and sect that was established in the 70s in Malaysia. It apparently draws beliefs from Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, and Hinduism. And apparently all of that centered around Ayah Pin, who is the leader, and he asserts himself as the incarnation of all these prophets from, again, all these different faiths, if the Baha'is are looking for, a god that unifies all the religions, I wouldn't say him because he's not, but he's probably the only one stepping up and saying that, though. It's all based around little communes they're in, which feature these symbolic structures all dedicated to him, so they're a little nice community in Malaysia, though, of course, they've had their controversies, they've had cult-like control, which, big surprise, given that centered around a cult of personality. And, again, it's nice that they take values from Christianity, but, again, this guy's trying to be the new Christ, which is not good. Kuksu. This is a Native American religion out of California. It's supposed to also be a secret society, and it has all these little rituals based off of ones attributed to the Native American tribes there. So it grew out of traditional Native American religions, and as a result, it's basically like one of the few modern pagan religions from Native American mythology still going today. Matrixism. The name speaks for itself. The 1999 blockbuster movie The Matrix inspired some people to believe that this really is a simulation and we gotta wake up. I don't know, it'd be kind of cool, but I also don't like the idea that we're living in a simulation and the real world is a apocalyptic dystopian heck hole, because if it is, how are we gonna get rid of it, alright? The trilogy didn't really even have much of a solution for that. I'm not gonna spoil the movie or anything, but if you watch it, you know what I mean. But yeah, I do not think simulation theory is real. Like, at all. Urantia. Urantia is a religion centered around the Urantia book, which is this big spiritual, philosophical, religious book that supposedly reveals the true nature of God, the structure of the universe, the history of Earth, called Urantia, and all of these other narratives of life and the teachings of Jesus. It's this own book of revelation from celestial beings that apparently contacted Chicago, and this is like the true book of Revelation. So it's kind of like the Book of Mormon. It's like supposed to be another testament to Jesus Christ, but it's not. But apparently there are people who actually follow it. So yeah. Typhonian Order. The Typhonian Order is another occult group based off of Kenneth Grant, who has got this big lodge, or he had this big lodge, and in it, people will worship his writings, which were like Lovecraftian stories about extraterrestrial life, and apparently they believed it was real. But again, this is just another, author trying to turn his works into a religion, like L. Ron Hubbard and Scientology, It's very Scientologist, I would say, but it's also occultist, so it's even worse. Ekankar. Ekankar is another new religious movement, and it teaches that humans are divine sparks of God, known as souls. And we're all on this personal journey of spiritual freedom, and we get it through direct experiences with the supposed light and sound of God, which is known as ECK. So basically it's based around these spiritual, encounters with God that help us all become more connected to Him. So I guess it's kind of like Christianity, but without any of the actual theology behind it, maybe. But of course, they do also believe in other stuff, like the belief that you have to chant the sacred word Hu, H-U, and it's an ancient name for God, and they also believe in soul travel, where they try to enable conscious exploration beyond, the physical body. You can leave your body and travel the universe, like a ghost, I guess. So, yeah, it's very spiritual, but, there is some bull hockey there, isn't there? Modern Mystery School. This is this cult-like school that teaches you how to do all these spiritual magic stuff. They can teach you how to heal people and whatnot, but it's really all just bogus, and it's very cult-like. They do horrible things, including sexual exploitation. I think you know what I'm getting at here. It's a very bad place, and all the stuff they teach, bull hockey, all of it. It's not true. You can't do magic there, because that kind of magic is not real. It's fake. But the only thing you're gonna get is a really bad time. Alright, so just stay away from them. Warning. Okay, look, I've warned you 3 times about this stuff, okay? If you're still here, you can either take it, or you really just aren't gonna listen to these warnings, so viewer discretion advised, I guess, because this is gonna get really sick. Kentelmoism. Kentelmoism? I can best describe through, of all places, Reddit, actually, so let me put that post up by NoDiscipline2729. Alright. Kentelmoism is a cult centered around Chris Kentelmo, who gained popularity on Reddit through his mass gilding sprees. The cult promotes a mix of psychedelic New Age pseudoscience, made-up stuff, including the use of DMT, which Kintelmo said cured his brain cancer. Yes, the man has brain cancer. But I'm sure that doesn't affect this at all. Yeah. Kintelmoism targeted vulnerable groups, such as members of r/teenagers. Yeah, he targeted teens. And encouraged practices ranging from benign to harmful, including self-hurting and sun-gazing, which is staring at the sun without protection. The cult eventually dissolved following the death of Chris Kintelmo. So, yeah. Not good. Ascensionism. Ascensionism is a religion mainly just based on the belief of reincarnation. It's mostly online, particularly in Yahoo groups back in the 2000s. It was big there. And they claim to be a new branch of humanism. And more than that, they even claim to be transhumanists, like they want to move beyond their human bodies, which I guess explains why they're called ascensionists. I guess they want to ascend from their bodies in the world. But while they often are misunderstood as a cult, they don't actually seem to have any cult qualities. Rather, they just believe in reincarnation and ascending from their bodies. Blood over intent. Known as BOI for short, this is a YouTube-based cult, and it emerged around 2013, led by Mark Braun, a plumber and electrician by trade, and he went by the name Quasi-Luminous, which, by doing so, he also claimed to be the earthly incarnation of Satan as well, so that's what makes it a satanic cult. The central practice is it's a form of magic involving the creation of a sigil to achieve a desired goal. In modern practice, it's created by writing an intention on a piece of paper and charging it through some sort of physical action, such as dispensing white liquid on it, is probably the best way I could get away with saying that on a Christian channel. But as the name indicates, the BOI practice is also centered around spearing one's red liquid on it to make it come true as well. About 5 years before posting this first video, Braun was shot in the groin during an attempted robbery. Soon after, he was involved in an incident with the Coral Springs Police Department, being taken into custody by them under the Florida's Baker Act, which permits the involuntary commitment of individuals if they're deemed mentally unstable. And believe me, he was nuts. He claimed he was kidnapped and subsequently beaten, asserting the experience served as an awakening that allowed him to see the reality of the world as a hell. So yeah, I don't know if they actually abused him or not, but either way, it's pretty clear even then the man had issues. And this, along with other run-ins with the law, it all just really decreased his, sanity and made him more angry at the world and wanting to hurt it. So that's why, in December of 2013, he posted the first Blood Over Intent video on YouTube. And that is essentially what created the cult. Soon after, other people did it, while he himself decided to create a Book of Life and open it up that he says contains 144,000 names, I think? But Braun says that inclusion in the book can be obtained by completing the BOI ritual. So everyone who does that is now in the book. And as a result, this book being in it is the only path to salvation. And he summarizes it all as teaching blood up or shut up. Okay, that is kind of cool, but that's still horrible. So yeah, it's a really messed up cult, and I could go into it really deep here, but I'm not going to because honestly, it's just disgusting. It is a disgusting and horrible cult. It has nothing to do with Christianity. I'm only talking about cults like this to tell you, this is what happens when you stop being Christian. Well, no, not when you stop, when you turn away from Christ and go in the other direction. If you want to swing the pendulum the other way, this is what you're gonna see. Okay, I'm not saying that you'll be like this if you don't become Christian, But this is what the opposite looks like. This is what going fully in the other way is. LaVeyan Satanism, frankly, doesn't even have anything on this. Blood over intent is maybe not objectively the worst, but I understand why it's here at the bottom of this iceberg. And honestly, people who get involved in this stuff need help. If you know anyone who's involved in something like this, get them help, and get them away from cults like this, or they could get seriously hurt. And honestly, I can't even say anything else on this. Let's just end this before I throw up. Well, thank goodness we finally got through all that. I'm telling ya, some of those last ones kinda made me a bit uneasy. It's a shame how bad some of these cults and religions can get. Fortunately, though, we don't have to worry about that, because we know the right way to go, and that's Christianity. Sure, some of these other religions have good ideas to offer and connect with Christianity in certain ways, but that's all just to tell you, like, what these other people believe and explain it a bit more. At the end of the day, my message obviously hasn't changed. Obviously, you should still be a Christian. It is the way, the truth, and the life. And unlike some of these other cults and religions, we don't promote any of the horrible things you just saw, because, you know, we're a legitimate religion. Yeah, still, I enjoyed making this video, and it was nice to explore some of these other religions and understand, you know, maybe why people might come to them. So, thank you all very much for watching. I'll have another good video like this out soon. Sorry for the break, I just had to settle in home because I graduated. But thank you all very much for watching this. I'll see you all soon, and Ian Haas,